Three, two, one. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I've got on the line now one of the nominees for Musician of the Year at this year's BCMA Awards held in London in November. And I'm proud and made up that this guy's actually come on because his musicianship is second to none. And it's bassist, it's Tyler Spicer. How you doing, matey?
Hey, yeah, it's good to meet you. I'm really well, thank you. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm good. And looking at the backdrop now, I mean, it looks as though, you know, you're in a pub.
Yeah, that's right. That is
Why
where I
not?
am. I'm on my way. I'm traveling to down to Cornwall. I was going to have a little bit of a kind of songwriting time away.
Wow.
And so yeah, I'm had a little pit stop. And yeah, I'm in the back of a pub garden.
Oh, I came the other way. I had a gig in Torquay on Friday.
Oh, nice. How was it?
Oh, brilliant! But it was a one-off, and I live near Liverpool, so yeah.
Oh, bloody hell!
I'm just about
That's a long
recovering
way.
now. Yeah.
Yeah,
But what a place
quite
to go
late.
for a retreat for songwriting, though, in Cornwall. That's amazing.
Yeah, no, my parents happened to be going down there and they had a spare room in their B&B and they said, oh, do you want to come down? I said, yeah, sure, I'll do it. And we got the guitar with me, got the laptop with me, got everything I need to kind of get ideas down. Yeah, just do a little bit of that and be somewhere else, feel inspired, all that kind of stuff.
Fantastic. I mean, how do you feel about being nominated for one of the awards?
Oh, I'm absolutely delighted, to be honest. It's been one of those things that was a bit of a bucket list thing for me. Um, I probably started working with artists and people in the UK country scene about 3 or 4 years ago. And that was always one of the things that just kind of on my little list of things that I wanted to, you know, be someone that was at least kind of recognized and was in the running for those type of things. So to actually be nominated is really, it means a lot to me.
And you are going to be there, aren't you? You said just a little before we started
Yeah,
recording.
absolutely.
Yeah. Oh, that'd be great.
Absolutely. Yeah, so I'll definitely be there.
I was telling everybody, I said, "Oh, it's the awards is on Sunday, and there's a jam session on the Saturday, like it used to be back in the day, because that was the last time I went. And
Yeah.
now that I'm like the official interviewer, I'm like saying, "Oh, come down," and then I said, "Oh no, it's not. It's actually changed." So I've actually I said to him, "Forget that, scrap that," you know.
No,
But
absolutely.
will you be getting up and doing something with the band, or?
I don't think I'm playing anything that night. I'm not booked to be doing anything that night. But no,
I'd
I'll be
take your
there. I'll be
bass.
taking in the atmosphere.
I'd take
Yeah,
your
all right.
bass
I'll
in
bring it
case
along.
a bass player's
All
not
right.
been able to come. How about, you know?
Yeah, of course. No, I may as well. I'll keep it on me. Never
I
far
could.
away. I'll be staying in the hotel and stuff. So yeah, I'll bring it with me. Make sure it's there.
Yeah, you never know, do you? Because I mean, I went to a 60s night in Liverpool last night, and it'd been held back from before the pandemic, and it was like Herman's Hermits, you know, swinging blue
Yeah.
jeans, PJ Proby wheeled him out. They did a song, but
Wow.
the Tremolos closed the night. And Here Comes
Nice.
My Baby and all that kind of stuff. Well,
Yeah.
before he did that, the announcer came out. He said, "Listen," he said, "I'm really sorry, but I can't remember his name now, but the lead singer, he played drums, he was lead singer, is quite ill in hospital." And oh, right, okay, but he's drafted his two sons in, such and such a son on the drums, and lead vocalist Chesney Hawkes.
Wow.
He said, "The one and only." I'm thinking, Chesney Hawkes, and that's his son. And he was absolutely, he said the day before he was in Portugal on the beach. So that's what I was saying to you about bringing your bass, because of everything that's going on in the world. You just don't know. You know?
Keep everything with you.
Is there a doctor in the
it's
house?
true.
Yeah. Is there a bassist? Yep, I'm here, you know. But
it's one of those dreams, isn't it?
It is.
It's one of
It
those
is.
things you dream of.
It is, but it's a great category, to be fair, because I know there's, I think pretty much any award ceremony in the world, you know, it does, and rightly so, tip our hat to the people like behind the microphone, you know.
For sure.
And you've been with, you know, tell us some of the artists that you've actually been, you know, with on stage and helped them out.
Well, over the years, my kind of role has shifted from being a bass player with people like Danny McMahon and Kelsey Bovey originally. More recently, I've been producing Charlotte Young's stuff, Stuart Rolfe stuff. I've been working on some of Becky Lawrence's stuff. I played bass with Bob Fitzgerald for a while in his band. Yeah, I think I'm probably doing people disservice and not mentioning enough people. There are probably more people, but when you do that listing thing, there's always someone that gets missed out, isn't there?
But also
But yeah,
that's a great sort of endorsement for you, because if you're that busy, you must be bloody good.
thank you. I mean, I'm always trying,
Yeah.
always trying harder. I mean, what I'm doing now is producing. So I'm producing loads of people at the studio that I work at, engineering, producing, songwriting. So that's kind of become my thing recently. Working with Dan and Andy, so they're releasing a single soon that I co-wrote with them. Well, I wrote for them actually. And it's just doing all the things behind the scene that I can, and being involved with people. I love working with people. I love working with people on this scene,
Yeah.
and just trying to make everything as good as it possibly can be, so that we can really, match up to that stuff that we hear overseas. And I mean, so many of our own artists are wanting to emulate that and also integrate parts of that into what they're doing, and take it our own way. And I'm just really there to kind of help that along the path and the journey.
To be honest, the festivals that I've been to this year, and I didn't really embrace the UK scene, if I'm being honest. I knew like the Kezia Gale, Gary Quinn I've known for donkey's years, and and a few others, but it was only this year at Buckle and Boots and then the British Country Music Festival that it actually come to the fore with me, and I went, just what is this?
Yeah.
And I think, to be fair, level, if not better than some of the stuff coming out of Nashville. Nashville now is a conveyor belt of tailgates and honky tonks,
Yeah, for sure.
And you can't really I've said this a few times on interviews. You can't really differentiate who sung it unless it was a male or female. If it was just all male, you go, that's such and such a body. Oh no, it's not. It's not. But it sounds like them, and they haven't got their own identity. But I think the English scene, I think every artist has their own individual identity.
Yeah, I think of that really hard when I'm working with artists, particularly producing them. There are places in the UK and studios in the UK that I know want to try and emulate that stuff. But for me, it's always about remaining true to the identity of that artist and bringing some of those things across, and bringing the quality across, and the sonic, and making sure that, in the mix, it sounds as good as that stuff. And that the playing is that style. The guitar parts are similar; they have that character to them. But yeah, just keeping really mindful of who that artist is and what they're doing in the UK, and where they want to be. And some people just don't want to do.
No.
They don't want to be the Nashville conveyor belt thing, and they'll say that. I'll be saying, "Oh, do you want to go this way or that way?" And they'll say, "Oh no, it's really not me." And before I start producing something, I'm always thinking that, like, what is their sound? What are they doing? Not trying to do that conveyor belt thing because it's popular.
And it's quite interesting. I was speaking to Georgia, Nevada last week, and
awesome.
Yeah, absolutely awesome. It's as I say, different gravy,
And I love Georgia. We get on really well. It's really cool.
She's stunning, stunningly, very, very good at what she does. And I think she said the same thing. And it seemed that during lockdown, the quality of songwriting, but also the quality of production has upped its game. It's like they've thrown the kitchen sink during lockdown.
It's got to. It is so important. And Georgia does some really great stuff, and her stuff, she's really got a certain avenue that she's going down with the style of the songs. It's got that, it's a little bit raw, and that's something that I think the UK scene definitely has. It's more of that raw energy. It's a touch of the kind of Chris Stapleton stuff, and the way that Vance Powell produces the material. It's got that a little bit of grit. It's a little bit dirty. It's not clean and pristine, and it's not perfectly done. And that's something that's definitely, I think, part and parcel of the UK scene. But yeah, Georgia's stuff's great. I worked on a single with Georgia and Amelia and some other people last year, in Aid of Mind at Christmas, which was I Won't Forget to Miss You. And yeah, working with all of these artists that I've worked with and been fortunate to work with, they're just so great. And
Amelia's brilliant as well. Yeah, she's
definitely
top draw.
It was a joy sitting there being able to listen back to their vocals and produce all their vocals. I wrote the song and then they sent all their parts in because it was right in the middle of the pandemic. So it's getting to listen to all of these different great voices from the UK scene. It was really cool.
I've been very, very fortunate to sort of been linked in with, like I said, like Donna Zanetti, who's reached out to yourself for me as well, and been friends with her on Facebook for ages, but didn't really know. Not only is she a PR guru, and she knows all, Kezia and all that, and links me even to Nashville. But I mean, this might might switch you off now, but she's also a huge media person for Liverpool Football Club, which is my club.
Right. Okay,
I mean,
that's unfortunate, but it's okay.
You know, and I'm like, oh no, I am not worthy. I know. I'm like, you know, she said, Jurgen Klopp's my boss. Oh, yeah, okay, cool.
Wow. There is something about that though, isn't there? There's that that relationship to a football club and that close, and you hear someone works for them, you think that's just the best thing.
It's just
when you've got so much passion for a club, you just want to be just part of it. Don't you do anything just to be helping them?
I mean, my son-in-law, he's a great guitarist. He's in a metal band called Deified.
Yeah.
And they're going great guns. They're going on a Bloodfest and all them kind of festivals.
Yeah, massive. That's cool.
Yeah. And they he went for an interview because he works at the moment in professional music technology. Megastore. And obviously I get discount because, you know, and he wouldn't be able to marry my daughter this year, you know, if he hadn't. But anyway, but he got, I know, and it's great media. He's passed all, you know, he's got honours in media and all that. Anyway, he went to, he said, I've got an interview, Paul. I said, where? He said, at Liverpool Football Club for one of these media guys. I said, all right, cool. But he's a Man United fan.
Right.
He did tell them.
This kind of thing.
Yeah, he did tell them he was a United fan, and he didn't get the job. But anyway, I don't know if that had anything to do with it. But basically, I said to him, don't you dare change your job until I've got my full order of PA equipment off you.
Yeah, make sure it gets in first. You don't want to be hit with the
absolutely. No. But what's the future looking like for you then? I know you're saying you're songwriting, but you want to produce your own music. You know, you get bringing out some of your own vocal and things like that.
It's something that's definitely there. It's definitely in the back of my mind. It's something that it's something that I've been threatening to do for a while. I mean, yes, first and foremost, I've always been someone behind the scenes. I've been a bass player, I've been the songwriter, I've been the producer, but there's always excess. There are songs that are there that are kind of close to me or things I don't think maybe suit someone else, but I think suit what I would do with them. So that is something that is potentially on the horizon. I mean, it won't be this year, but it might be starting to come to fruition probably late 2022. But it's a case of, it's one of those things that I've never really wanted to be the man at the front, but I think it's nice to have things out there and points of reference, and people can hear, you know, something you've written, produced and played on is kind of authentically you, isn't it? And it gives, you know, the old search in Google or whatever, and you find that. But yeah, other than that, I do a lot of stuff on YouTube as well, so some of my stuff appears there. That's 2022 will be more producing artists, more working with artists, and some of my own stuff might finally sneak out.
Oh, fingers crossed for you. It is different. I mean, I've always been a solo artist, so I mean, I've always been used to being the front. You know, I did have a duo at one point, but people have said to me, "How do you?" I said, "I haven't got no nerves whatsoever. I just go and do it, and I love it." You know, I've worked with people in like a duo or whatever, or in a band, and they're shaking, and they've been doing it a lot longer than I have. I mean, I think it was about 20 years I've been doing it, but the shaking going on, and they're really nervous, and I'm like, you know, and that's a positive and a negative. Yeah. Some people say you might be too laid back, but as soon as you get in that mic and that zone, I'm gone. I mean, I can't even see the audience. I'm zoned out, you know. But it's going to be quite interesting to see your development in that, coming from a sort of like saying, don't take this the wrong way, but from a comfort zone-ish, from the back, you're playing, you know, you've got your charts, you're going on, to actually tapping your head and rumbling your tummy, as I call it. Yeah. That's why I've never become a lead player in rhythm, because I can't, you know, to pick and sing. Definitely. You know? Yeah. Maybe in time I will. You know, I keep learning, you know, I've got all the theory coming out my ears, but it's actually putting it in practice. You know? Yeah,
of course, yeah. It's one of those things that I can do if I've practiced a lot. You know, I can singing and playing is fine, as long as I've done it before, you know. It's when you have to kind of improvise and do it. It's just, my brain's too much melody and focused on the instrument.
So next time then it might be UK Male Vocalist of the Year then?
I don't think that's ever going to happen, because I'm all right, but I'm not a magnificent singer. I think with, you know, the old studio trickery, enough help, enough aid, I can probably do a decent job. But I mean, there are some phenomenal singers out there that, you know, and it's funny, even you go and listen to, some of the people that I kind of like and would admire are people like Laurie McKenna, who's a songwriter, but she goes out and does, she does play, she'll support artists. I thought it was an amazing lifestyle. And people like Ryan Hurd, and you hear them and live, they might not be quite as polished as the record or whatever, but it's just actually the craft of the songwriting and what they've done in that.
Yeah.
You kind of revel in that, if nothing else.
I think one of the great interviews, in my honest opinion, this year for me was to speak with Kent Blasey, who wrote If Tomorrow Never Comes, and who Garth, quite unashamedly, said without him I wouldn't be here, because he wrote that, but he also produced me a lot and pushed me back in the early days. But then if you listen to Kent sing, he does sing and he's great, but like he said, I can't get to that next level, and he knows his own level, and he'll go out and he'll do a tune and a songbook. But it was so interesting this year listening to songwriters, and a lot of them are musos, and they'll go out and back like to Dolly Parton or Jake Owen and people like that, but they are good at what they do, and which is songwriting. And I mean, there's one particular guy said he couldn't hold a tune in a bucket, but he writes some brilliant bloody songs, and it's amazing, because you think back in the day before I did all this kind of interviewing thing, you'd think, oh, singer-songwriter, it's good, and that's it, it's all packaged, and it's not like that at all, as you probably confirm, it is a hard life. Yeah, the process is definitely hard, and like I said, if you've got avenues with your career, then fair play to you, mate, and I wish you all the very best. And like I said, every nominee is worthy of that award. It's not been thrown in there to pad it out. You're all worthy of an award, to be fair.
No, it's been great to be up with all those names. Like some of the names that are in this category have been just amazing, and they're names that when I, like I said at the start of this interview, when I was thinking, oh, I'd love to be nominated one day, I'd love to be in the running. For me, just being in the running was it. I just wanted to be in the running, and some of those names, Tim Price Jones has done so much big stuff. Chris has been, he's been all over the place doing all the stuff with the Rising. Sarah is just that name that everyone just said, oh, have you ever heard Sarah play steel? Have you heard Sarah play steel? And she was just always, and Phil was a bass player that, when I was growing up, friends would talk about in London. Oh, have you heard this Phil guy? He's really cool. He plays on the West End. He's in London. He does all this stuff. So to be in that, to be in the same hat with them, and to have gotten through that industry panel, which looked ridiculously intense. It's just a pleasure. So it's
interesting with Sarah Jury. I remember seeing her. Wow, must be in the 90s, and she was depping for a band called The Fever, and the strings had snapped on a steel, and she's singing along, and as she's singing along, she's fixing this, these strings. I was like, and I know she's backed some American artists who've come over and she's depped for and that, but like I said, congratulations on the nominations. And the only problem I've got now is people who have interviewed and met, certainly this year, and they said, oh, you're going to the BCMAs? Yes, I'll be interviewing on the night, and oh, we'll grab a drink. I'm thinking, I'm going to be smashed. I know so many people and going, oh, have a drink. All right. And I don't drink. I very rarely do I drink, but.
Oh, really? Okay.
So that's going to be quite interesting.
That's cool. I come from a family of people who don't drink at all, so I'm pretty modest with my drink. I'm pretty careful, unless it's a particularly good night. And I must say, country themed nights are the time that the Jack Daniels and everything comes out.
Well, if I do grab you one side and start interview, I apologise. If it's later in the night, I'll be going, all right, mate, do you want to tell us a little bit about, No, I'll be very professional. I will be totally professional. It's the afterwards that I'll probably have a couple. But listen, have a great time down Cornwall. Good luck on the songwriting. And I look forward to meeting you in person. And like I said, good fortune at the awards, mate. And you take care.
Thank you. No, it's great to talk to you, and I'll see you there. Thank you so much.
Adios, amigo. Bye-bye now.